The city council agreed to the consent decree.
No, they didn't. No, they didn't. You better backtrack.
Come on, y'all, let's let the man
As long
talk.
as he's not lying, that's fine.
My mama ain't here.
Ma'am, I don't lie.
Well, that's a lie. They didn't vote on the consent decree.
They did.
No, they didn't.
Can I say something?
There was a but.
As long as you're not lying. Oh, a but. Okay,
Yeah.
go on with your but.
Go ahead.
They asked for some certain stipulations.
Before they sign,
Oh, but that's what they do.
before they sign.
That's what, whenever you do contract negotiation.
When you're in negotiations.
When you do contract negotiation, it goes before city council for approval.
Okay.
They do amendments.
Before they
Yeah, that's
sign.
why they're suing us.
There you go. So they did not sign.
They didn't sign. Don't.
No, I didn't say
Come on,
they
we're not
signed.
dumb.
This is not a
Because they changed.
I mean,
This is
come
not
on.
a
We're all
negotiation.
here.
Let's go through.
Mama ain't here.
We heard you.
If it was a negotiation that happened, well, it was, back and forth negotiations for what, 7, 8 months?
But it wasn't, right, but it wasn't with the full council.
Was that initially negotiated in at that time? Because it seems, because everyone's got the impression that these last, stipulations came up at the last moment.
They tried to
After
do fast.
the fact. That's what everybody else believes.
This was the process.
Stop. May I briefly, if I think I understand, hear me out. The city passed ordinance, well, they approved the DOJ consent decree. While the DOJ is fighting them in a lawsuit, the city passed the decree with their own stipulations, so in their eyes, they are still following the agreement that they said they never had.
But if you go to the website, it's a totally different agreement than what the consent decree says. It's a watered down, whitewashed version. Oh, yeah, it is. I've looked at it too.
I mean, are you saying that you passed the consent decree?
Let me finish. Okay, so this was the process. The process was there were 3 city council members. There was the past interim city manager and the past interim police chief. So they sat on the negotiation team.
Yeah, I know that.
Let me finish. So they sat and they negotiated with the Department of Justice. When they finished that negotiations, they then handed off that document to the rest of the city council members. So the rest of the city council members had 2 weeks to study that document, to understand that document, to see exactly what was asked for. During that period of time, when we had our council meeting, the council members looked at what was approved, and they said there were some questions about costs. So the things they pulled out wasn't about constitutional policing. They pulled out raises for the police department. No, they didn't.
So if another police department takes over, they don't have to abide by the
What they asked for language that will allow for constitutional policing, but not necessarily follow the full consent decree for another agency that would have to come in. That's what they asked.
Why didn't they give us copies of the amendment before the meeting? Why didn't they give us copies of that? They had that ready.
They did not.
Yes, they did, because the press had it.
The president.
Sir, they were against it for months. There was scuttlebutt that they were going to say no for months.
They had 4 press releases. They had one that said it was passed, one that said it was failed, one that said that it was asked to be changed. The changes that were made at that meeting. And before the press put out their press release, they were making those changes on the fly. The body of the document was done, except for those 7 changes.
Then why didn't they give us all of that information?
That was added at the meeting, so they didn't print out 50 copies of that.
This
Well, they could have.
meeting right before you guys had to do this.
That secret meeting.
It's not a secret meeting. It's a closed session. Closed sessions are allowed.
Yeah.
It's still secret, though, because we're not allowed to be there, so that means.
But the administration is secretive.
Made available before the main meeting.
They had a closed meeting on Tuesday.
So Wesley, that's how much
The city had a closed meeting on Tuesday night. You know where they posted the information for it? On the bulletin board at City Hall.
I asked Mr. Seewood to come is it to clear up confusion about what we are going ahead and do as a
Yeah,
group.
we know what happened.
Well, but I'm just saying that I've had people say to me, are we now
I
stopping?
know what happened.
We're not stopping.
We're not stopping. That's why I want to say this group still has a mission. So why don't we go here? I'm going to go around once and see if we get everybody's ideas. Yes, sir. You've been very patient.
Well, so, I mean, we can argue over the semantics of whether it was approved or not approved, but we don't have a agreement with the Department of Justice, and it's in a lawsuit now. That's the fact. And so, I guess my question for tonight is that this document here that states the purposes of this group and all, it seems to be based very much on following the consent decree. But we have no agreement, there is no consent decree, so I'm wondering how this group proceeds, whether it redefines its mission or how, I mean, I don't, and let me just say one more sentence. I personally wouldn't want to be a part of a process that pretends it's following a consent decree when actually it's not, so that's my concern.
The direction I got from the city council is that we're going to implement the things that are in the consent.
Without signing.
No, it's minus the ones we asked.
When does the monitor?
We asked them to look for. The monitor doesn't occur until the
You didn't
department.
amend them out of it.
Yeah, this is there.
You didn't